lowercase numbers. Use them lowercase numbers.
That's on my list too. We should have uppercase numbers.
Can we just go down that rabbit trail for a moment?
Sure.
You are listening to the Soapbox. I'm Paul.
And I'm Eric.
This all started out with a list. What's that all about?
So I've compiled a list over the years of things that just bother me, things that grind my gears. And I shared that list with you.
And I thought, you know what? That would make interesting conversation. Sometimes I'm going to want to agree with you, and it's just going to be something we talk about. Other times, though, I'm going to want to steel me in the opposite position because I think that's just interesting conversation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm always right, but Paul's just a really good debater.
Hey, going in super cold, real talk. This is the second take. The last idea did not land. So
it may make a Be Real one day.
If ever we care to dig that deep into the trove, but we
hooked
ChatGPT.
Delve into.
Did I just say delve?
No, you said something else, but could have been delve.
Could have been delve. We hooked ChatGPT's audio function up to the soundboard, and we just have terrible Wi-Fi in this building, so it wasn't working out. Too much latency. And it was awkward and weird, and we didn't like it. So we hit stop, and we're doing something different. Mm-hmm. Full pivot here. Before we get into today's actual topic, though, I want to introduce something new.
Yeah.
Speaking of AI, got a little jingle here, and I don't know if we're going to work it in or not. So I want the feedback from the audience. Those same folks that were telling me you didn't like sound effects in episode 1, tell me if you find this offensive. Whenever we hear a siren on this show, we have a joke.
Yep.
And that joke is?
Take a shot.
But what if we had a song like this?
Hear that siren? Man, it's hot. Soapbox Lex. Let's take a shot.
That's very radio professional polished, in my opinion. Now it is 8 seconds, which may go a little long, so maybe I need to tighten it up a little bit. But
honestly, you just clip that last line right there and
just take a shot.
Yeah, love it.
Let us know what you think. I tend to overthink these things.
I've said before, Sam Harris famously changed his theme song, a couple years into his podcast, and his audience just
kind of blew their stack a little bit.
Yeah, and he's like, "My bad, I will change it back." It was an awful. Had he changed it to something decent, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But it was just like this, I don't know, strumming acoustic guitar, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I've been messing with, because we're trying to take this away from an editing thing into just sort of a live on the air thing. Why don't we do soundboards?
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay, so.
But I have a feeling that the reaction is going to be...
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Have you seen the rooster?
No!
It just keeps going. What is the rooster? I don't even know what that is.
I want to say Michael Scott. Why do I want to say Michael Scott? Steve Carell, his newest show.
Okay.
It's on HBO, I think. It is really funny. It's, basically him. He's a famous writer, like fiction writer, and he ends up teaching at this small northeastern liberal university, and it's funny. It's really.
Is he Michael Scott like, or is this a departure from that?
It's a departure. I mean, he's still got his quirkiness, but. It doesn't feel like a ripoff of Michael Scott.
It's good because he did one. It was about NASA. Do you remember?
Oh, was he? Did he?
Where he was a general for. It was making fun of Space Force. I think it was called Space Force.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And it was basically just Michael Scott, but now with gray hair, and he's a general instead of a manager of a paper company.
Yeah.
Then for fun, we're going to throw John Malkovich in there being extra weird.
Well, John Malkovich just kind of made up that accent on the spot for Rounders. It's just great.
Wasn't there I think this was about him, where somebody said, that whenever you're in a movie with him, there's like one movie that's happening, and then every scene that he's in, he's just in his own movie doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm. Sounds right.
If that's not, we'll just go ahead and give him credit for it anyway. But yeah, okay. Today's episode, that was a whole lot of rabbit trail at the beginning.
Yep.
We'll just cut it.
Yep.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Feeling squirrely today.
Yeah. So I got the list up. I was going to just hit some things.
Yeah, we need to return to our roots. We've not been true to our show's format for a little while, and I like it.
Okay.
So we're going in cold here. I'm colder than Eric because at least Eric's authored the list.
I think so. Some of these I've put down so long ago, I don't really remember.
Okay.
I might even disagree with it now or have a different take. Who knows?
That could be interesting.
There's one. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So here's one. I think I've talked, maybe we've talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it here, but I've always felt like when you put in a password, the security system should have a tolerance for if you're off by one.
Okay.
Now,
we've actually talked about this on the show before.
Have we?
We have.
I have new data to support this idea because I know there's the IT people are cringing right now, like, no, it's 128-bit encryption, blah blah blah. I'm just saying, if you make the character requirement 11 characters, then and if that's solid for doing what you want to do, well, how about we make it 12 characters and then allow one of them to be a typo, and any one of them, or maybe there's an algorithm close enough. If you hit a character that's right next to the character, it should be. I mean, are we changing the security so drastically that this would be a bad idea? Because and you're going to pull up like real smart people's thoughts on this, but I'm going to go with a combination lock. When's the last time you used a combination lock?
Not terribly long ago, but it's not something I use frequently.
We've got a locker in the basement of our building, and it's got a combination lock on it. I use it fairly often, and it reminds me of my school days that you don't have to get it exactly right. If you get near
plus or minus one on those little hash lines,
it lets you in. And obviously, this is done for physical reasons, and the way that it's designed. But I think it's also done because you're kind of flipping through this thing, and you can make a little twitch or something and mess it up. So it's got a little bit of tolerance in there. I mean,
how bad would it be is the question.
How bad would it be?
So I've pulled up a tolerance sheet here because I knew this was a thing, but I couldn't tell you with any degree of specificity. So let's just go with your example of between 11 and 12 characters.
Okay.
If you're using a numbers only password, that's a bad password. So let's just skip that altogether.
Yeah.
Lowercase letters only, that's a bad password. Let's skip that. Upper lowercase numbers. Use them lowercase numbers.
That's on my list too. We should have uppercase numbers.
Can we just go down that rabbit trail for a moment?
Sure.
What function does that possibly serve?
For
a proper number versus an improper number?
I mean, it would be fun if you're starting a sentence with a number that has to be the capital version of it.
Don't make English any harder than it already is.
I think this episode is going to be endless rabbit holes because
that's what we're calling it. Endless rabbit holes.
I pointed out to you the other day that if you type a number to someone, a complicated, 4 or 5 digit number, or it's time,
6, 7, maybe
6, 7. You send someone time, right? 4 digit number. You send them a.
I have it on the soundboard.
You do?
6, 7.
Of course you do. So I send you, and I did this the other day. It's like, hey, I'll be ready to go at this time. If you make a typo in a number like that,
yes,
it's not the same as a typo in a word. If a typo in a word, you have context, right? So if I, have a kind of like we're talking with the passwords, just a little oops on there, you could probably make out the word. I certainly didn't change it so drastically. It's possible you can change a letter in a word to make it mean the opposite or have a drastic impact on what you meant, but it's not that likely.
if you put an N in front of one, now it's none, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that obviously would be the rare exceptions to the rule. But with numbers, you can mess it up pretty bad, and I think I did. Right, I had a typo in there.
Yeah,
and it was off by an hour.
We were gonna go for a walk, and you're like, "Hey, I have a meeting. At 3.
Yeah,
and I thought that gives us plenty of time. Let me just finish working on what I'm working on, and a couple minutes.
Yeah,
no problem. And then he said, "Well, no, my meeting's about to start. Like you told me 3.
Yeah, and
it's 1:45. What's the issue, guy?"
Right. So the solution I have is if we can kind of hack our brain a little bit, try to type out the numbers with letters when you are specifying something like that. Because again, if you make a typo,
you've got more context clues. Yeah. So on the password hacking sheet here, if we're going 11 characters, combination of numbers, uppercase, lowercase letters, and symbols.
Numbers too, uppercase numbers.
We're getting a lot of traffic noise today.
Sure
Those
are.
diesel engines are just tearing us up. Either that or the witch isn't sitting well
like,
on your stomach. 11 characters, a brute force attack with current computing technology will take approximately 2 million years to hack.
Okay.
12 characters, 164 million years. So the difference between 11 and 12 characters is 162 million years worth of brute force compute attack time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take into consideration quantum or probably the advancement of AI techniques or whatever else might be at play here. But you are looking at substantial step down in password quality with just one character difference.
Yes, but we're also talking about a pretty substantial. Like, what's the context of 12? You said 11 characters was 12 million.
Compute years of brute force attack. Yeah, so 2 million or 164 million.
Okay, I mean that's a big difference there, but
and then if you just add a single character, if you go from 12 to 13 characters, then you go from 164 million years of compute time to 11 billion years.
Right. All these numbers, it sounds to me like 2 billion's plenty, right?
Well, if we're operating under the assumption that there's a certain threshold that is good, and the chart that I have here, I'll try to remember to splash it up in editing here. It has kind of a gradient of purple is the worst. It's an instant hack. Red is bad. It's mere seconds to weeks or months. Orange will be measured in years. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Yellow is now measured in thousands to millions of years. That's pretty good. And then green is solid.
And is our 2 billion?
The green? 11 billion is the very first increment of good. So if you had a password like the current password requirements that we have at the institution, the prestigious institution, to steal Anthony's description there, 17 characters is 276 quadrillion years worth of compute power, which means if you were to say 17 minus 1, it would step you down to 3 quadrillion years, which is still incredibly secure. It's like more than the history of the universe age.
So I would say 2 things to this. One, we should really be making this case for, I'm talking about your Qdoba password.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah, the risk analysis needs to include what is the function of this. Because I'm lazy with my Qdoba password. I used to have one password for all the things. Yeah. And it was very secure in my circles because nobody knew what it was because it had zero personal connection to this password. Yeah. A lot of people will pick something like their dog's name. Well, this was a password that my manager, my very first manager at Singular Wireless had. She gave me her password to operate because I wasn't yet in the system. And so back in the day, her dog's name and some combination of numbers and special characters became my password, and I used it for well over a decade. Yeah. And I got a password manager.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like, whoa, bud, you have been in so many breaches. This password may as well be on your Facebook status update. It's bad. You can't use this anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I've actually, so the same, you and I both, well, you used LastPass. I switched to 1Password. But I highly recommend it. I mean, this is not sponsored, right? This is just.
It's not, but if they want to sponsor us, we are looking for sponsors.
But seriously, I can't emphasize enough how having a randomly generated password, I don't know most of my passwords.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And if I'm, God forbid, I have to type it in on like a television remote, if I'm logging into Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Forget that noise. Now, thankfully, they've overcome that with scan the QR code and do it on your phone.
Yep.
But for just a hot minute there, it was like, okay, guys, we want to watch a movie. We're at Grandma and Grandpa's house.
Yep.
We got to log. Oh, no.
Yep.
26 characters, special characters.
You're going capital A, lowercase t, the Batman symbol, 5. Yeah. And it's just like.
An onk. We don't know.
Yeah. But yeah. So what I've done is I've kind of ignored some of, because I used to have, well, my old password used to be the same one at UK that everybody had, which was basically their social security number. And then they stopped that after some thought went into it. But that used to, everyone's default password was their social security number. Now, obviously, they require you to change it every 6 months and so on. But yeah, so I used that password as just my standard. I was super quick at typing it. And most systems allowed that. I think it had numbers and a letter. That was it. No special characters. Space is the dumbest new addition to a password.
Agreed, because it's difficult to tell how many you've got there.
Yeah.
If you need to record it for any reason, you have to sort of just trust the machine to remember the number of spaces. There was a post about the security of a password if you're ever in a breach. I'm cheating hard today. I'm Googling everything.
I'll let you type that up, and I'll round up my thought, which was there are a handful of accounts I still have that use that generic password that I know is on lists and out there. But again, it's for dumb stuff like logging into your rewards program. Your rewards program at which with 75 points gets you a free witch sandwich, which you will enjoy. Sorry.
What a great segue there. I've heard you can include SQL return characters.
Oh wow!
In your password, and then when it inevitably gets dumped on the dark web as a SQL dump, your password will be safe because it'll do a line break.
That's pretty clever.
I was trying to look up what that was and look smarter than I am, but not today. Today I'm looking just as dumb as I actually am. So that's all right. Here's a thought. This is one that I've had before, and I don't know if this is a Unicode thing or what, but why do we not have emojis in passwords?
Huh.
As ubiquitous as they now are, and I know the argument would be like, oh, well, what about on a computer? But like if you are on a Windows computer, the Windows key and then colon will bring up an emoji keyboard. Mm-hmm. Do you ever use that?
I've never used that. I'm a big fan of the Windows key. I use that to do a lot of things.
If I'm typing, even in the Google search, and I do Windows and that, I get the emoji keyboard.
I think what we would need for this to work would be some kind of a universal emoji data set, right? Because I mean, surely the Android device has a different emoji.
So this is all decided by Unicode, and they may have a different
picture
that represents it.
Yeah.
There was controversy. Apple manufactured controversy when they changed the gun emoji to a water gun because they didn't want to promote violence.
Right.
And so I think, Android, you can ride dirty with the real gun. Apple, you got to have the little baby fight version.
And then 2, you can change the color of your skin for the hand emojis. Which I assume that doesn't translate to the code of the.
I'm not sure how skin color would relate to that. Surely encryption enthusiasts would be able to account for all of that, but I think it would be awesome to log into my work machine and it'd be like poo emoji,
yeah,
eggplant, squirt.
Now it sounds like sounds like Funny or Die or whatever it is, where they're auditing the The Venmo receipts for.
Yes, I have seen that.
That's so funny.
I don't know if we can.
No, we can't.
I don't think we can quote any of it.
You gave the gist of it with the eggplant, but yeah, well, that's a good point. But again, none of this, what I'm hearing, is stopping me from arguing for the let it slide. Just have like a one ups, and it could be.
I'll give you one final counterpoint, and then I will relent because I don't care that much, but I care a little bit.
So you couldn't care less. Oh no, you could care less.
I could care less.
Yeah, actually,
but not by much.
Right.
There's a thin margin of caring less,
which defeats the purpose of that expression in this case. Okay.
I believe in some degree of personal responsibility.
Oh, okay.
Call me old-fashioned, but when somebody is, and I see this in IT a lot, so this is an IT gripe. But if I say to you, hey, could you please type your password? And you immediately go, I don't remember it. Let me see here. I've put it on a Post-it note, making the idea of a password completely invalid to anybody with physical access to my machine. What are you doing with your life? Yeah. You have to use that password to log in every single day. You have to use it to access all of your online services. You're typing it so many times, you should have picked something that already was based on a thing you can remember. And then if you just changed your password, I can excuse a little bit of confusion. But how many times do you have to rehearse something before you've committed it to memory?
30.
So if your password is 2 months old,
yeah,
no excuses.
Yeah.
So it's from a personal accountability standpoint, if we let it slide, what we're going to end up with is an even dumber, lazier population of people who just kind of approximately get it right. Meh, good is good enough. And I don't know if I want to encourage that.
I'm thinking more, again, a typo. So I typed it in right, at least according to me. But just a flub. I'm going too fast, maybe something like that. So it's I'm only talking about letting it slide in cases where, again, you're in a hurry or whatever. So, maybe if you
maybe
don't,
you get so many per month,
maybe
you get 3 gimmies just as I would say this, how many times have you typed a password incorrect, typed a password incorrect, typed a password incorrect, click here to forget password, choose a new password, can't use it same as the old password.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's happened to me before.
What did
What just happened?
What just happened? This is like USB. You plug it in, it's wrong. You turn it around, you plug it in, it's wrong again. You turn it around, you plug it in, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah, it's like opening a trash bag. You try this end, doesn't work. Flip the other end, it doesn't work. Go back to the first end, and it works.
Yep. So
Murphy's
some
Law.
of this stuff is just. Is there a law for things that just don't ever work correctly the first time?
Maybe there is. Paul's Law. That's what we call it.
Oh, great. Yeah, I always knew my name would be associated with greatness.
So, okay, well, my point here is what if the USB device magically, if you put it in upside down, if it just worked?
I think they'd call that USB-C.
Exactly.
And then the only problem would be, is it the right type of C?
Right.
Does it have data? Does it convey power?
Yep.
What's attached to the other end?
Mm-hmm. And they use it. They're using it for everything. You can charge your laptop or plug in a webcam in the same port. I think that's fascinating.
There's a lot of magic happening in that little port. For all the garbage I'll talk, I couldn't have designed a better one.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to just hit you another little one? And
yeah, let's go into our endless rabbit holes. Next topic.
Here's one. Just okay. I don't know. That one could be a whole episode, I think.
Maybe pin that one for next time.
What about people who take photos of presentation slides at a conference? You ever see that?
I do. If the conference hasn't promised that they're going to make that presentation available.
Well, who does? Who doesn't now? Is that a thing?
I think it's a thing. I think you're used to stuff that's put on by organizations like TRB, where they've got somebody in charge that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or at SIP, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So shout out Tara.
Yeah. GIST, then
GIST, they know what they're doing. But then for every one of those, I'm sure there's a dozen meetings over the course of the year where you have a PowerPoint presentation and you maybe want to get that one little piece of information. It's not going to be up long enough. You take the picture, you get into the habit of doing it.
That's different. Okay. And I should have specified. I'm talking about literally the guy in the front row taking a photo of every slide. And that's the one I'm kind of like, look, I mean, if it's this important to you, go talk to the presenter after, give him the business card.
Can I be a horrible guy?
Get out there.
Yeah.
I mean, look at our last episode, huh?
Did not get as much heat on the initial rollout as I thought. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's been live for 12 hours.
Yeah.
So we might still get a little bit of pushback on that one. But yeah, I'm going to be that guy for a moment, and I'll make the accusation that I could later be accused of being racist for saying, but I'm going to just say it anyway.
Okay.
My perception is that the person taking those pictures of every slide, they're often Asian.
Oh.
And before people like rush to deport me, one, I'm an immigrant, so don't come at me, bro. But no, I think the reason they're maybe taking the picture of the slide is that they have to do more cognitive work to understand what's on that slide than a native speaker. And because of that, they maybe need that as a handicap to be able to go back and revisit it while translating it to something that they understand mentally. I don't know.
The one guy I'm thinking of in particular that he used to do this every conference I ever saw him at. And he'd very often go to APWA, a public works conference, which, by the way, they have kegs of beer as an option to add as a vendor. So you have a booth and you do the thing. You can pay a little extra and get a keg of beer at your booth and like, come on over, have a beer. It's great.
Or don't share it with anybody, and then you're just the rowdy guy at the conference.
All right, so this is a conference. Clearly, they know what they're doing. They've got a huge staff and all that. So they're going to share the slides.
Okay.
I say all that, and maybe it was true that there was a policy where they didn't share the slides, or you had to pay for them or something. I don't know. But yeah, he was sitting front row, and he'd click, and he was Puerto Rican, so.
Do you think that might have been a contributing factor? I don't think this is always true. And surely there are other folks that maybe they've got some sort of attention deficit thing, or they've got ADD, or they have some sort of learning disability or cognitive disability where they aren't an auditory learner. Maybe they're a visual learner.
This could, honestly, this could even be an OCD thing where they
are afraid to miss something.
Yeah, and I think this guy in particular that I'm thinking of, I think he had like a digital camera when he was doing it. So he'd been doing it for years.
He came equipped.
Yeah, and I think he probably has an archive of all of these. And
there's an interesting thing. There's a lady who for years and years and years compulsively used VHS tapes to record broadcast television.
Oh.
And when she died, she had recorded things that they had no other record of.
Oh, wow.
And accidentally became this huge archivist of the 80s. Commercial breaks and live things that there was just no record of.
Wow.
And it ended up being a fantastic treasure trove for the Internet Archive because it captured things that otherwise would have been lost in history.
Huh,
so, yeah, those types of behaviors, I may be more willing to excuse them just because they don't infringe on me. Now, if I'm sitting behind that guy and I see the back of his phone instead of the screen, maybe I'll have a different opinion.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to give it to him. Maybe I'm just a little bit more empathetic than you.
I was,
That's not true at all.
Yeah.
That's why I said it, because it was funny.
It's interesting. I'm not even really mad about it terribly. I find it just
a peculiar behavior.
Yeah. Especially the big piece, and then we'll leave it, is where you're taking the image of text. You're basically taking a slide without a photo. If it doesn't have a photo, if it's just text, we're talking kilobytes of information, right?
Tiny. You've turned it into megabytes.
You've turned it into megabytes, especially if you got the setting, your camera, and it's high. So it's interesting because what could really help here would be having AI go through all your images and convert it all to text and store it in a text file.
And maybe even synthesize it for you.
Summarize it. We're there basically now. Copilot in PowerPoint.
They make little, they look like business cards. You can just tap a button and record a whole meeting.
Yeah.
And then it'll give you notes later.
Yep.
And there's no screen or interface. It's just.
Yep. I tried Copilot for notes just recently. It transcribed the whole thing, summarized it. It's all built into Teams. It's pretty. I mean, it basically took one person's duties away for that meeting, because normally you'd have someone taking notes, typing notes, whatever, and just like poof, no need for that.
I don't hate it. I don't want to be the one that has to take notes.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, you could have some of your attendees be actually AI and chime in like ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, buffering.
Okay, well, that's enough of that, huh? You got anything?
Well, we actually kind of scrapped the episode, but we could go back to this one just because I think it's an interesting question. If you could, with certainty know that at least 50% of your interactions online were not with actual people, but bots, fake accounts designed to farm engagement or incite you in some sort of way, would that motivate you to move away from that space? Would you want to stop using that product?
Yeah, probably. I'm not very active in social media in terms of engagement. I'm just kind of I think a lot of people just kind of bystanders.
By standards?
Stander. Yeah. And I just viewing it, consuming it, whatever. I wonder if you talked about the dead internet before. I wonder if I wonder if bots are just engaging with other bots, and
Most certainly, yes. Yeah, if you pull up your social media, I can pull mine up real quick. I am willing to guarantee that most posts are going to be not people. So I've got post number 1, my friend Marty Allen, that's person. Post number 2, I've got questionable product placement, where you can have your design put on anything. And then what is that supposed to be?
Yeah.
Dog toy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Make your brand unforgettable.
It's good.
I can't show you guys what it is, but it's phallic and purple.
Yep.
And not quite what you think it is, but it's like...
It's almost there.
It's almost there.
Yeah. I've got podcasters on Facebook. Someone...
Are you on the SoapBox Lex page? Because you're going to get
disproportionately
most of that.
Yeah.
Then I've got local newscaster that I follow. Then page that I've never interacted with in my life, and the option to follow it. So there's one example.
That's bizarre.
Then an advertisement. Then a page that I'm not a part of that is showing. Do I want to join preppers and emergency preparedness? The algorithm thinks that's what I'm interested in.
Hey, I like this. This is actually a buddy of mine from Wisconsin. He says, busy night, volleyball tournament, and hockey. That's us.
Where is he?
No, he's in Wisconsin, so that's
Jeffrey,
purely.
You gotta come on down, man.
Yeah.
Gonna have a lot of commiserate conversation about beer league down here.
I wonder if he's talking about his kids. What? Yeah, my next one is you posting about the
teachers.
I was gonna say the podcast that is not to be named, but yeah.
Teachers. I don't think that one hit quite as badly. I'm gonna shout out Jacob Brashear because he actually texted me, and he was intrigued by our topic selection because he grew up with 2 parents that were teachers, and so he asked the question. He's like, I wonder if I should show this to my parents. They both taught school in a rural area. It might be an interesting perspective. And then, he went on to give me his thoughts and his comments. So, Jacob, I appreciate you being a regular listener there, and share it with them. I thought I would get more of a counterpoint on that one than we have thus far.
Yeah, it's still early, I'd say. The other thing that I wish we could have done is synthesized our talk at Summit, because we had Summit after recording that episode, and you kind of brought it back up with that group, which the whole point of Summit, and you can go listen to that episode if you like to understand it. But we get people in that have strong opinions, are willing to debate, counterpoint respectfully.
Mostly.
respectively, as some people misspeak.
I say respectfully, and then I feel like I was kind of the jerk at this last one.
Yeah, but I think it kind of in good fun. But
Yeah, I was trying to be provocative.
we did kind of get another piece of information that we didn't add in the podcast, which is, which I think I'm kind of settling on the idea that yes, teachers were underpaid, and they did this big campaign and they did things and that it got attention and they solved it. And
nobody decided to stop that conversation because it was still beneficial.
I mean, because yeah. So
yeah, I don't want to keep beating the dead horse
Yeah.
on that one. But do we have anything else on the list?
of course, we'll hit one more here. See if we can. Okay. This one is actually very topical for me because Vinny's playing in a Nido soccer club, and lately here, one of the boys is leading all the other boys. So when they get on the field, all the starters, they grab a huddle and they pray.
Okay.
And this is kind of a newer thing that I think
Now,
is gonna.
just for folks that don't know, like me, as an example, is Nido like I Am Third? Is this a religious organization?
No. Nido actually is a Italian word, and I believe it's spelt differently, but it's an Italian word for nest. And the idea is Luca's trying to build. We ought to have Luca on here and talk about his kind of grassroots soccer program. But he's trying to build like a nest for young athletes that maybe can't afford the bigger clubs and things and grow them as players.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is in response to some of the overpriced clubs that may be exclusive in terms of grooming talent and aggressive in terms of their travel schedules and all that.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is just bringing soccer back to families that want to have a sport for their kids.
Yes and no. I mean, it's still a travel club, so there's an expectation to travel and good distance. I mean, you have to go far to get higher competition. It's just part of the thing. So recreation soccer clubs like I Am Third used to be, and I think they still have a rec division, and Lysa, of course. Those are hey, let's just play some soccer. Maybe only
Low
one practice.
expectations because I coach 2 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nido's, it's probably, I think the difference I would look at it as, it's more like thinking about Rocky's training versus, was it Ivan or whatever it was, where he had all like the computers hooked up to him and
Gotcha.
in one of the Rockies. But I think the bigger clubs have, the cameras recording everything and
360 views
yeah,
with the
yeah.
AI analysis.
Now, if you've never,
This is them hitting the side of a cow in a freezer.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, now I'm tracking.
So that's kind of how I would.
I had to phrase that one delicately because, when that first came to mind, I was going to say something completely different.
Right. Okay. Anyway, so a couple of the boys are particularly open about their religiosity, and one of them, in fact, has a cross on their shin guards, and they're tiny little shin guards. And the argument is that God's going to protect my shin because I got the cross. And
Is that true? Okay, well, you said this to me before. Is it true, or do they just buy undersized shin guards and put crosses on them? Do they really believe that's protecting them? Because it didn't protect Jesus.
No kidding. Yeah.
Like let's take the biblical approach here.
And honestly, this is where I'm kind of going with it, with the praying at the game is, doesn't he have more important stuff to take care of? The big guy?
Then watching soccer?
Than watching soccer. I mean, he's a hockey fan. Anyway.
He's a hockey fan, first of all. Yeah.
Sorry, I think I stole your joke.
Yeah. But also, I think he's a pretty good multitasker.
It's good.
I've heard.
Oh, well, sure. Okay. But then, all right, two teams, both of them get out there and pray. And now we got to see who prays better.
It's who's got more Jewish heritage.
More Jewish heritage. Well, there you go. Well, Tony thinks I'm Jewish, so maybe.
You're a Mitch.
Anyway, I think it's just an interesting.
So on the topic of prayer before non-religious events, I think that's maybe the deeper cut, right? Because as a Christian, and and I've held a similar perspective before. I don't want to advocate for a system that is theocratic. I want to argue for a system that, when it's being run by people who hold opposing beliefs, still allows for me to worship when I want to worship and not participate when I find it to be problematic.
Yeah. Amen, if I can say that.
You can, because it means so be it.
Oh, so be it.
If, as a Christian, if I recognize the way trends are going, the birth rates and immigration and all of that, the future is likely going to be predominantly Muslim. Do I want to be in a meeting where they all face east and pray to Allah?
Right.
No, I would be very uncomfortable.
Right.
Do I want to have to adhere to the tenets of Islam and the dietary restrictions? And would I want them to, read from, I'm drawing a blank.
Quran. The Quran.
Thank you, Quran. I was like, what is the Muslim Bible called? Quran. Thank you. No, I wouldn't want any of that.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to impose that on other people, because I want to set a precedent where I have religious freedom when I'm not in charge. So before the soccer game, before the big meeting at work, those sorts of things, while well-intentioned by people that I think are pretty decent people, it doesn't hit well for me.
It's fascinating. I know this is your opinion. You've talked about it before, but I find it fascinating to hear that, because obviously you and I agree on that, and I think that's kind of that's the birth of America was largely based on religious freedom. So I totally agree. And now it's odd, because you can make the claim that facing east and reading from the Quran can make you uncomfortable because you have a Christian belief. As an atheist, it's hard for me to articulate my opposition to these things, because it's kind of like, well, if I pray over your food, it's not going to do anything if you don't believe it, right? So what's the harm? And it's like, there isn't a harm per se. It's just, it's kind of uncomfortable.
I think that if you were to remove the individual perspective, like I'm stepping outside of the Christian perspective. The Christian perspective is, I want to pray before my meals, right?
Yeah.
And we do in my house. Yeah. We do at church, and I'm out to eat with my family. But if I'm at a work function and I'm sitting at a table with folks that have different beliefs than me, is what I'm doing imposing upon them? And is there an effect that, could be negative if I were to experience it in the same sort of way?
Yeah.
And so I have to kind of do that calculus. And if you're very dogmatic and you want to pray before every single meal, then maybe just bow your head for a second and have a quiet prayer. That's fine. I'm not offended if somebody were to do that. I think the individual players on the team, if they wanted to pray before the game and they wanted to do that privately and not as a group activity that's sort of socially mandated, I would be okay with that too. But the moment it's like, okay, guys, it's time to pray. Let's all gather up. Yeah. I feel like that's maybe, if it's a Christian league, okay, you've signed up for that. My kids played basketball in a Christian league. Actually, half the practice is basketball practice. The other half, they circle up and have a little devotion. That's what we are there for.
Is that I Am Third?
That's not I Am Third. I forget the name of the league. It's a church down the street. Okay. But it's fine because we know what it is. Yeah. We've signed up for that, knowing that's what we're signing up for.
Yeah. I think literally the I Am Third, it's God, family and then sports.
Which still is a little bit of a I don't know. Maybe I Am Fifth didn't have the same marketing ring, but there's still some stuff maybe that should come before sports.
Yeah, I would find it odd if the I Am Third leagues are praying for their games to win, because then then it gets back to the point where like,
We lost. Which one of you kids sinned this morning?
yeah,
We're going to do Hail Marys till somebody confesses.
exactly. But yeah, so I agree that, I mean, if you don't, if someone doesn't believe, then getting into the prayer group, yeah, there's really no downside to it. But if someone believes in something else and you're kind of, I would say if any of the kids on the team are Muslim or Jewish or Hindu or any of that, I mean, it's going to be really uncomfortable for them to speak up. They're probably better off just kind of bowing their head and maybe, but yeah.
But also, I've never known it to be an effective evangelical tool to coerce somebody into behaving a certain way.
Yeah.
A genuine, heartfelt belief, I think, has to come through personal conviction, and it has to come through having some sort of not holding the cardboard sign on the side of the road relationship with another person.
Yeah.
Where whatever you tell them about your beliefs is heartfelt, and they have trust with you, and you guys can sort of approach that as a conversation rather than just being browbeat into submission.
Yeah. I did find it, I think maybe we talked about it before, but like you mentioned, conferences, it was quite a culture shock to an employee we had for a couple years that was from out west, and she came here and we took her to a conference in the South. They prayed before a lunch, and in a room of 300 people, and she was looking at me like, "What's happening?" And it's like,
doing what now?
Yeah, they do
That's
this.
a Kentucky thing.
And you'll see that kind of in southern states, particularly we do a lot of conferences nearby, and we'll see that. And then as you go up north, it's less popular. Although Traffic Records Forum, which is has a large police presence, not because of trouble going on, but they attend the conference as law enforcement. I noticed they seem to pray before lunch, don't they?
I don't.
There's a whole color guard, and the whole.
Well, they do a flag sort of ceremony. I'll have to pay attention next time around. It didn't strike me as something they did, but
I might be conflating conferences here, but anyway.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
with that said, let us pray. No.
All right.
See you guys next time on the Soapbox.
All right.
We've got a brand new website. What is that site?
That is soapboxlex.com.
So you can check us out on the web. You can also check us out on your favorite streaming platforms, including...
We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and we're on Amazon. And of course...
If you want to check us out and actually see what you're listening to, we do have video as well on YouTube. And I don't know if you knew this, but Spotify does video too.